So many service business owners think growth should just make business easier, service easier because they have more people, they have more revenue, they have more help, and obviously they should have more structure. But for many owners, growth does the opposite. And it's as simple as that. Like growth just creates more complexities as a business. If you've not put the right structures in place, the business gets bigger, but the customer experience becomes harder to control for some reason. And it's absolutely supposed to be the opposite, right? So the reason why this happens is because more people touch the customer. There's more handoffs happening. You have more standards that get interpreted differently based on the team member or based on location. More things just fall through the cracks. And when the owner starts like wondering, why does this still have to come back to me? It's probably too late. And that is what I want to talk to you about today, because growth is not always the problem. Growth is not. After doing this for almost a decade, I can tell you, it's not growth that break businesses. It's inconsistency. And so today I'm going to show you three main reasons why that happens. And then I'm also going to give you a framework that you can use to help you make service more consistent in your business. And then I'm going to show you how you can put all of that together to provide a consistently great customer experience, building a retention system as a result. So let's get straight into it. Let's get straight into it. And I know there are some people joining from Facebook, there are people joining on TikTok, there are people joining all over. So it's important that if you have any questions, you just leave them in the chat. I'll do my best to keep up. But the whole goal and the whole point is that we're able to deliver value, which is the most important thing. So if you have any questions, let me know. So this is what happens when growth happens. You've probably experienced this in your business. So I am going to do my best to make sure that we are able to keep up and we are also able to deliver value as much as possible. The first thing that I want you to know, the first thing that I want you to know is this, that what worked small does not always work bigger. I'm going to say that again. What worked small does not always work bigger. And this reminds me of a great quote, right? A great quote by Marshall Goldsmith, where he said, what got you here? What got you here won't get you there. And oftentimes that's the mistake most business leaders, business owners make. They think what got them here will get them there. But this is what I say, okay? This is what I say. I say, okay, what got you here will cost you there if you don't build the right systems. What got you here will cost you there. Because if something is working just because your business happened to be operating on proximity, because you're closer to the work, you know every customer, you know their name, like you're able to jump in quickly and solve the problem for the customer, jump in quickly and do what is best for the customer. Does not mean that same mindset, that same mentality would work. And that's the problem that we have to understand that, because what works more is not necessarily going to work as you get bigger. And that is a mindset shift. That's a mindset that most leaders have to come to understand. Because in the beginning, everything lives in your head, everything lives in the owner's head. And the owner can interpret, the owner can quickly step in and do what is right, do what is best for the customer. They know the customer's name, they know their preferences. But that is not scalable. That is not something that you can scale. That is not something that you can trust your team to consistently do if you don't build the right systems. If you don't build the right systems. Now, the next thing that we have to understand is that you most likely have a system problem. You have a system problem, not a people problem. Okay? You have a system problem, not a people problem. Oftentimes, I hear most leaders say, man, my team is not following through. I wish I had better people. I wish my people would just follow through. But is it really your people? Because if you wish your people will follow through, what are they following through on? Right? What is it? Is there a mark? Is there a standard? And have you made that clear? That's the difference. So if it's a mark, it has to be clear. And the only way you can make it clear is by building standards, by building systems, by bringing clarity, right? But you have to understand this. You have to understand this. And it's critical that you do. It's critical that you do. Okay? That um, alignment is better than agreement. Alignment is better than agreement. Oftentimes, the excuse most leaders make is, well, I have to always step in because I don't trust my team to do it. I don't think my team can handle it. I don't think my team can take care of it. But I think a better question to ask is, have you given your team what it takes to be able to do that, whatever that is, right? Whatever the cut is, whatever the standard is, have you made it clear? And have you given them what they need to be successful in their roles? So oftentimes we think about, well, more training, more training. But if you are not able to align your team to deliver a consistently great customer experience, it's harder to retain client. It's harder to retain customers. Customers will return to experiences that they can trust. And that's the difference. You have to align your team. In doing so, you have to focus on communication, improving the handoffs that is happening between your department, because that is critical. The customer is not looking at your department. The customer don't care. The customer cares about your business and being able to keep up with the promises that you have set aside for your client, for your customers. A good example here is, as a consumer, you probably ordered something online and you spoke to the sales rep and they're like, hey, we can get it there to you tomorrow or by Monday. Monday comes and you don't get it, and you are thinking, wow, the sales rep lied to me. But in a customer's mind, they are thinking, wow, I cannot trust this company. So, yes, maybe shipping made a mistake of not actually shipping the things on time, but the customer is not thinking like that. The customer is not thinking in department. The customer is thinking as a whole. So, any reflection on the front line, any reflection on the front line of your business is a direct reflection on the whole company. So, as a consumer, in this instance, if you are thinking, "What does this person lied to me?" That's not it. Like, customers are not thinking like that. And so, as a business leader, business owner, operator, founder, you have to clearly understand this, that customers only return to experiences that they can trust. And the only way you can do that is by understanding that you don't have a people problem, you most likely have a systems problem. Because when you think about all the brands or companies that you love to do business with, you have to ask yourself this: are they just lucky hiring unicorns? And is that even possible? When you think about it, like, that's really not possible. Like, think about all the brands that you love to do business with. Like, why? They are not just hiring unicorns. And that's why I love this quote by Edwards Deming, where he said, a good person will fail inside a bad system. A good person will fail inside a bad system. You most likely don't have a people problem, you have a system problem. And when we talk about systems, we are not just talking about more training, because oftentimes the mistake most leaders make is they just try to solve the issue with more training. But More training, more tools will not fix what a system should. More trainings and tools will not fix what a system should. So the goal of your business as a leader is to ensure that you are giving your people not only the tools and the trainings, but you're also giving them the education and the systems needed to be successful. That's what you have to understand. That it's most likely you have a system problem. And if you think I'm lying, let's consider these questions, okay? Let's consider these questions. Have you clearly defined what great looks like? Have you clearly defined what great looks like? Have you shown people how to apply it in real time? Are you able to see them do it? Is this something visible, right? Do different team members explain or um, whatever act on different standards? And then do you have systems to reinforce all of these? That's the difference. Like you have to understand. And if the answer to any of these questions is no, then you have a systems problem, not a people problem. You have a systems problem, not a people problem. Third, third is this. The third point is this. Growth, right? Growth, growth creates inconsistencies, not people. Growth creates inconsistencies, not people. Because as a business grows, okay, as a business grows, the service is just going to start to drift. The service is just going to be difficult to maintain and to keep up. Because, first, right, the standards most likely are unclear or will become unclear. Second, the handoffs is going to become more inconsistent because perhaps in your team, in your department, or in your company, one department think they are better off than the other. One department think they are the special one. One department feels like they are the only ones who make everything work. And so there's hierarchy, and that creates silos, and that's a problem. And third, because there's no systems in place, leadership is always reacting to things. And that just creates more inconsistencies and more issues because the team don't know what to expect or what to do. And again, oftentimes, the issue or the challenge with most leaders is that they try to solve this with more training. And trainings won't fix what a system should. Should. And finally, we have to understand this. Finally, we have to understand this that inconsistencies, right, kill businesses. Inconsistencies kill businesses. It's easy to think, wow, we never used to be like this. Man, we were so much better when we were smaller. And you think it's because of growth. It's not growth, it's because of inconsistencies. And you have those inconsistencies because you never created a system to begin with. That's the problem. That's the problem. So, the question to ask, right? If you are wondering if is inconsistencies or due to growth, is to ensure that you have clearly helped your team know what is expected of them every single time, what they have to do, what are the standards. Because if you don't, then that's what is creating the issues. Because if you're one company, right, one team, because that's what the customer sees, regardless of how many locations you have, how much you've grown, the customer don't care about that. The customer only sees one company. So you have one company, one customer, but receiving different experiences with your business, it's going to be hard for them to trust you. And oftentimes that's the issue. Like inconsistencies create retention risk, which ultimately leads to revenue risk. But we think, oh, customers just got picky. No, it's because they can't trust you. Like inconsistency for the customer is a risk. It's not just annoying, it's inconvenient. Like as a consumer yourself, which we all are, if you cannot fully trust a business, if you cannot fully understand that a business is going to take care of you no matter what, and you can trust that confidently, you're not going to go there. And it's that unpredictability, that inconsistency, that's why customers never return. That's why customers never return. That is why service consistency is not soft. It's not about that. Like, it's the real retention infrastructure. The only way you can improve your revenue, the only way you can raise revenue, the only way you can protect profit is by retaining your client. Like, retention is not about acquiring more, it's about retaining more. Because 80% of your future revenues, and this is a natural principle from the 80-20 rule, which we all know, right? That 80%, 80% of your future revenues will only come from 20% of your customers. 80% will come from only 20% of your customers. Who are these 20%? 20% of these customers are your trusted customers. That's what it is. These are your trusted customers, customers who love to do business with you and trust you because you're consistent. It's not about your product or your service. These days, your product or your service is just a commodity. Like anyone can go to China and make the same product, perhaps cheaper and better. So your product or service is not the differentiator. It's about how you make people feel. The only way you do that is by building a retention system. A good example of this, right, this week is Spirit Airlines going out of business. Why? Spirit Airlines going out of business. Why? It's because they focus their business model on being a commodity, by being the cheapest in the marketplace. And the only way to survive when you're cheap is to compete on price. That's the only thing you have. And that's why they are out of business. So, to put all this together, the diagnosis for this is not another training, if you haven't figured out yet. Like, it's not another training, it's doing an audit. It's about doing an audit, right? And then clearly understanding what is required or what is necessary in your business. So, in the audit, I want to give you some questions that you can focus on, right? In the audit, I want you to ask yourself these. In the audit, I want you to ask yourself these. I want you to ask yourself these. Why is service becoming inconsistent? Why is service becoming inconsistent? Okay? Then you have to also understand, where is the owner still acting as the glue? If you are the operator, the business owner, like, where are you still acting as the glue? Is your team always rushing to come back to you so you can answer the question? Is your team always rushing back to you so you can help out? Because it means that they don't feel confident in their skills and their abilities. And so the next time that happens and you're not there, guess what happens? The customer is going to experience that inconsistency, that unpredictability, that is going to leak out trust. Trust, right? Trust leaks before revenue drops. It's important to understand that. Trust leaks before revenue drop. So it's Really, really important that as you do the audit, you begin to understand these things. That you understand that you have set clear standards for your team. That you have to also focus on where retention leaks might be forming. And finally, when you have done all these and you have done the work, the homework, and you truly understand what is happening in your business, then you find solutions by systematizing it. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. So, if any of these sounds good to you, and if you feel like this is something that is happening in your business and you want to take like true action on it by building a system your team can rely on, I'm doing a client retention action plan sprint. This is for business owners, serious business owners, business leaders who want to build a retention system to raise their revenues and protect their profits as they scale their businesses, grow their businesses to multiple seven, eight, and nine figures. And I'm going to show you the exact system that you need to build a retention system that gives your team the confidence and the skill set that they need, but we can also build a system around it that helps you scale. So if this sounds good to you and this is something that you're interested in, you can DM me the word plan and then I'll send you the application to apply. Any questions so far? Any questions? Any questions? And if there are no questions, we'll just go ahead and keep it moving. All right.